Hey LAN party gamers! Today we're going to talk a little bit about connectivity and why you shouldn't use Wi-Fi at your LAN party events. So you get a modem and a router, or sometimes they are combined when you get them from your cable provider or DSL provider. And you think, oh great, everybody can just come on over, I'll give them the Wi-Fi and password and we're off to the races. But hold your horses, because that can lead to some issues. The more people you have on a Wi-Fi connection, the more you have to worry about latency. Now, as your Wi-Fi router is getting barraged with requests, IP address changes, and bandwidth limitations, you're going to have issues where you get higher and higher pings. This is caused because it's getting so many requests at a time, there's only so much bandwidth over the wavelengths that you're traveling on that you can use. That's why we always suggest going wired, and I'm going to show you some user case scenarios today that'll show you why. Stay tuned. Let's go ahead and leave this Wi-Fi access point here, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Come with me. So even a few feet away from where we left our access point, we have pretty good coverage, assuming there's just a couple people on their mobile devices. But if we close the door, it adds another layer that we have to bust through for the access point to be able to reach our phones, tablets, and our laptops. So for every room that we go through, that adds an extra layer of problems that we can interfere with. There are way more obstacles than you can think of, not just walls and ceilings, but also elevation. So Wi-Fi emits in a 360-degree bubble, and it's going to keep going as far as it can, assuming there's nothing in the way. So if you have a Wi-Fi access point upstairs or downstairs, it should theoretically reach where you need it to. Well, you can think again, because as we go up the stairs, you'll see that it degrades even more. And we'll be seeing more and more rooms where it can degrade even more than that. Let's check it out. So the further and further we get away from the access point that's giving us our Wi-Fi signal, the more and more chance we have of what's called electronic interference, or EM. And what that means is all the computers at your event, all the monitors, for our cases 3D printers and more, are going to be also giving out signals which could block or interfere with the Wi-Fi that's coming out of our router or Wi-Fi hotspot. So keep that in mind, that if you have a lot of equipment between you and your Wi-Fi hotspot, including the walls, floors, and ceilings as well, you're going to have a bad time. Now you may be thinking to yourself, okay, I've got this space that I want to use for the LAN party, and we'll just put another hotspot or access point in that room. Well, that's where something like this comes in. This is an ingenious long-range Wi-Fi hotspot. You actually do plug a network cable into the back of it, and it repeats your Wi-Fi signal. You just give it the same network name and password as your original one, and in theory, you should be able to go from one to the other seamlessly, or so you might think. So your computer will, every once in a while, drop packets as it searches for the best Wi-Fi hotspot to connect to, even with the same name and password. So we might be gaming out in the backyard, and this Wi-Fi hotspot is the exact same distance as the one we showed you in the studio, meaning that that poor person in the middle of the two is being disconnected and reconnected to whichever one has the better signal, whichever one has less EM interference at the time, and guess what? They're getting a lot of packet loss in game, and it could cost them a win. So keep that in mind. Multiple hotspots, although handy to increase signal range in a household or office, can lead to problems with packet loss. So you might be thinking it's going to be very expensive to run your LAN if you aren't supposed to use Wi-Fi, at least on our recommendation. And you know, it's really not, and it's fairly simple. The only thing you need is an incoming line from your modem that's provided by your ISP and what's called a switch. Now, a switch can have upwards of 16, 24, or 48 ports, or you can get a cheap one with only 8 ports in it if you're only going to have 7 people at your LAN, because one of those ports is obviously going to be the incoming line from your ISP. So we just plug that into any of the ports on here. Then you plug in your computer and all of your friends' computers into one of the additional ports, and there you go. No Wi-Fi required, As long as you're within Ethernet distance of each other, which is about 250 feet, assuming you have a long enough cable, you won't have any signal problems and up to gigabit speeds with this fairly inexpensive method. Now you might be thinking, oh, I don't have a wired Ethernet jack on my brand new laptop. I got it, it's small, it's slim form factor. Well, that's okay, because they make fairly inexpensive USB 3 to Ethernet adapters that you can get, and you'll be gaming on wired. You won't have any issues, just like the people who brought desktops to the event. So make sure that you're plugging in to alleviate any of these problems. In summary, we're going to keep using LAN cables for the LAN, and we're going to be using wired network hubs and switches in order to keep everybody connected. Now, don't let that stop you from using Wi-Fi for things like your phone, your tablets, or Ultrabooks, because they're not really built for gaming, and they could definitely use the help on that front. So make sure that they get as much bandwidth as they can by staying off the Wi-Fi with your desktops and gaming laptops if possible. Again, this is San Diego LAN. This is a quick tip. I hope you guys like this sort of shorter format video. It's a little different from our build guides, but I think that having these LAN party guides might be a little bit more up our alley. And if there's anything that you have questions about, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and we'll try to shoot a video and show you what we think and how we run it here at SDL. Obviously, give us a like if you liked it, and share this if you think that it could be useful for anybody thinking that they can run a full-fledged LAN over Wi-Fi without any problems. And as always, thanks for watching. Have a good day.